this one does connect to Xbox Live, yeah?
Okay, that's probably good. Bear with me a second while we don't deafen everyone. Can everyone hear me okay? Sorry, coming into this pretty hot, so I'll do a little bit of setup. Sorry, someone's decided to put these annoying little cable ties in my keys. Obviously trying to be neat, but it's getting in the way. Sorry, I had to break the place before I start. Can we dim the lights a little bit, perhaps? I think we've oh, to leave. I'm going to All right, well, thanks very much for the intro. And I'm Jim Cope, not Cole, great. So,
Always just one character.
So I'm producer on Crackdown 2, and this is my lovely assistant, Sean Noonan, who's one of our designers. Sean's going to do all of the thumbs work on the control platform, because I can't really talk and play at the same time. But I'll embarrass myself by doing a bit of that later. So if we start the game off, I'm just going to talk a little bit about some of the story context of Crackdown 2. I don't know how familiar everyone is with the first game, but towards the end of Crackdown 1, the player is the agent, unwittingly released a bunch of mutated freaks into Pacific City. It was part of a research centre mission. So these mutated freaks were effectively set loose on the city. They rampaged around and generally led to a bit of a civil war breaking out. So Crackdown 2 starts off with the player returning to the action amidst a little bit of three-way struggle for power. We have the agency, who are retreated onto the agency island. They have been sabotaged by a terrorist organisation called the Cell. And the Cell are effectively a civilian uprising. And the Cell are trying to regain control of Pacific City from the agency, and the Freaks are also trying to gain control of the city just because they're on a rampage. And effectively we have this contrast of gameplay between day and night. At night the Freaks come out and do their damage, and in the daytime the Cell and the agency effectively trying to fight for control of the civilian populace. That's pretty much it. It's looking at Pacific City now. I should point out as well, this is a fairly old build. This is the same build we're showing from TGS a little while back. There's some sparse bits to it. We're heavily in production. We haven't got the vehicle system fully yet. What Sean's going to do is we're going to show you sort of a little sample of some of the things that we're doing, both in style and presentation. So the Pacific City itself is emerging from a little bit of a civil war. Civilian populace is struggling to survive the night, effectively. So they're doing whatever they can in the daytime in order to gather resources and sort of gather fuel, gather weapons, in order to survive the nighttime attack that they receive from the Freaks. Sean's just flying around a little bit the city. I'll talk a little bit about that. One of the really striking things about Crackdown always was that we had an incredibly vibrant style. It was really advantageous to us because the way that Crackdown looked really set it apart from everything else. So when you saw it in print, when you saw it in kind of any-time online media, the screenshots always popped out. You know, it was really vibrant. It was colourful, a great texture palette, and you know, it was something that we have to retain. But Crackdown 2, we also wanted to sort of say, well, let's take everything that was there before. The element that we took from the first game was with the Freaks was really a bit of a lever for us to just sort of turn up the action. So we wanted to try and create this day-night cycle that had true contrast in gameplay, and also leverage all of the crowd system so that you could effectively run around and interact with thousands of characters. If we drop the player on our little rooftop here, we'll give you a little taste of what it's like and what we had to do, some of the challenges we faced in order to make sure that we could interact with our thousands of characters. So I'm going to level up Sean here a little bit, just go through a little bit of progression. And we are cheating a lot, so Sean's going to pick up this weapon here, and we're going to fly over to a location that I hope players of the first game will recognise. Crackdown 2 is based in the same world, but we've completely remodeled it so that we wanted to retain the sense of familiarity for our players. So here we have an old location of the observatory. It's received a bit of a battering in the Civil War, and what we're going to show here is a little bit of a tertiary mission called the Freak Breach. Now, Sean's going to set up this Freak Breach. These are like secondary objectives in the game. But what I really want to show you here is just rescue Sean with God mode. What I want to show you here is quite a lot of new things in quick succession. First thing we're looking at in the sequel is improving the hand-to-hand combat. We wanted to fight against thousands of characters, so the Crackdown 1 mechanism with the same kick over and over again had to be revisited, and we've come with a whole new combo system that chains lots of fluid attacks together. So it's not all about having various moves that are really quick and easy to string together. It's effectively a little bit button mashing system, a little bit like Fable 2, but it's much better for fighting against crowds of enemies like this. The next thing we want to do with the hand-to-hand really is introduce a good melee system. One of the really great things about Crackdown is throwing objects at enemies. You are a superhero, throwing cars at people is really good, but actually having melee weapons was something we wanted to introduce. So we got this concept of really big, crushing, fun, over-the-top weapons which we can take from the environment. Now, that really is Crackdown. It's over-the-top. It's intense action. So that's something we felt really fitting for what we're trying to do. So the next thing we looked at is more traditional weapons, so gun-based weapons, but we wanted to put a much more physical spin on them. So here we've got something called a UV shotgun. Now, a UV shotgun is an energy weapon. It's particularly effective against freaks, but the real key thing here is that it's an excuse for us to mess around with a very physical item. It doesn't just work against freaks, but it also works against any physical objects in the world as well. So you can have lots of fun with this. I like to think of it as a giant leaf blower because you can effectively blow things around the world quite good. So the next thing, in Crackdown, it was a 3D play space. It was really great. Verticality was one of our key pillars of the game, and one of the problems with that is that you always felt that if you got on top of a roof, you could escape any kind of threat, and that was a little bit disappointing. So what we try to do is we're setting up now that with the freaks where the player actually has a credible threat from the Reaper freaks, and they get chased across rooftops. The player is no longer the most powerful thing in the city. And some people are a bit disappointed by that, but really it's about making sure that the game is balanced there. It was nice to have moments of no action, but a lot of people felt that those moments of no action were kind of left them dangling, left them unrewarded. So having these chases across rooftops with Reaper freaks now is going to be a lot more sort of fun. You're no longer going to feel safe by hiding on rooftops, and that's something that kind of expands the whole play space truly vertically. Which is something that we feel really proud of being able to say. We are a 3D platform, and Crackdown was really made people look up, and Crackdown 2 is kind of really building on that. But I'll tease a little bit, but we'll no longer be looking just up. So freaks live underground. So that's all I'll say on that. So that's a taster of kind of some of the new bits and pieces of Crackdown 2. We're also building on a lot of the old systems of Crackdown, and if we look back at the kind of civilian-based opposition, the gang-based opposition,